This is Just Win Bets, baby, on the Sports Bet Winning Network.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we are diving deep into the world of gridiron analytics and sports betting with a guest who has truly mastered one of the most exciting niches in football. He is the chief stats, trends, and information researcher behind the massive digital brand Springball Blvd. If you've been looking for an edge in the UFL, you've undoubtedly run across his work. He combines sharp, data-driven handicapping with a high-energy style that champions the everyday bettor. He is the voice of the fans and the one and only TPG, a.k.a. at Peoples_Gambler. My friend, welcome to the show. How are you?
Wow, what an intro, Joe. Thank you guys for having me. Happy Memorial Day. And yeah, it's great to be on here. I saw Matt joined you guys last week and excited for the opportunity, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Before we go any further, who's your UFL squad?
So my squad's the St. Louis Battlehawks. I've been a fan since 2020. Really just I have some family that lives down in the St. Louis area, so been down there plenty of times to a couple games, and just watching them back in 2020, they were a hard team not to fall in love with very early on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Already here, we're both Defenders fans.
Matt gave me the heads up. He's like, hey, be careful.
Yeah, we're out of DC, about 30 minutes out of DC. So we do, obviously, we have our media credentials where we could, go see the game, cover the game, etc. There's no, I tell it like it is, and my producer always gets on me sometimes on that, but it's not a comparison to the St. Louis Battlehawk fans to the DC Defenders fans, because it's almost night and day. I mean, you're averaging what, 15,000 people right there for that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, those are two great teams that have really solidified themselves in the spring football space and two of the best fan bases. I'm sorry that JT had to go down, because I was really hoping that we would get a St. Louis DC championship in Audi Field. I was really looking forward to that. But hey, you guys have a seat at the table, and that's really all you need in this league, because I feel like every year we've seen an upset get pulled in the playoffs. So I still think there's hope for you guys to make a champ game appearance.
Yeah, no question about it.
Even last year, I mean, the DC Defenders were pretty big underdogs against the Stallions, and they upset them. That was a pretty big upset. Absolutely. This year's going to be a little harder with Jordan Ta'amo out, though. So that's a big hill to climb.
Yeah, I think week 10 is going to be a big week for this team. I mean, we've seen what Spencer Sanders has done the last 2 weeks, and has really struggled through the air. They made the trade for Jason Bean earlier in the year. So I would love to see that guy get some reps this upcoming week, get his feet under him for a big playoff game.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I couldn't agree with you more. Let's jump right into it, my friend. And you mentioned Matty Fresh. Of course, you're being your sidekick or vice versa, what have you, on this great show of Springball Blvd. You and Matty Fresh have built a dedicated home for spring football fans with, of course, your brand here, your platform, Springball Blvd. What made you decide to plant your flag so heavily in the UFL market when mainstream sports media often overlooks spring leagues?
Oh, this is such a loaded question. So I guess it all kind of goes back to what I said earlier. I've been a Battlehawks fan since 2020, but really I've just been a fan of spring football. Gosh, I guess all the way going back to like the heyday of arena football, the AFL. I'm based out of Chicago, so growing up going Chicago Rush games with my dad, that was awesome. We would also go to a lot of Bears games, so football was a big thing in my family and something that I gravitated towards. But going back to your question about like why spring football, right? I mean, I love the game, right? I played Division III football at that level. You're not playing for the glitz or the glamour. You're playing for the love of the game. And I see a lot of myself in these players. They just want an opportunity, another shot at the next level. So, and especially if you know this league, if you're, dialed in with what's going on the day-to-day, there is a very big advantage when it comes to betting on this league. I just wrapped up a 5-in-1 week, actually a 6-in-1 week. I gave out a side parlay too, probably my best week of the year since week 1. So there is a big advantage to this league if you're dialed in with the right information. And that's something me and Matt try to do. We try to present our audience with the best information possible to make money on this league.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
I like that a lot. What position did you play in football in D3?
I played corner.
Oh, sweet. I played D3 ball as well. I was a lineman though.
do you mind sharing what school you went to? I'm familiar with the landscape.
I went to Shenandoah University. It's out in Winchester, Virginia.
Nice. Yeah. I went to Lake Forest College. It's up on the north side of Chicago. So yeah, really cool opportunity.
Yeah, they recruited me as a tight end, and then I showed up, and I had knee braces in my office, in my locker, and they said, "Hey, you ever played center before?"
So the funny thing about me, like I played quarterback in high school, so I kind of got recruited as a guy that could potentially play quarterback. They didn't really know what to do with me, so first couple of days at practice, I was taking reps at quarterback my freshman year, and we had 9 quarterbacks. I was 9 out of 9, and not getting a lot of reps. So I started kind of like looking around like at other positions, like, hey, what do I think I could play, like actually make an impact on? Because even if I stayed at quarterback, they wouldn't let me play special teams as a freshman. So looked around, I saw that our corner room was a little light. I had a little bit of defensive back experience from high school. So I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. Sorry if I'm not.
No, you're fine. Sorry. You're fine, man. You're fine.
So yeah, took that opportunity and I turned that into winning the starting job, which was by the time I was a senior. So that was awesome.
That's awesome, man. I was I started for 3.5 years. I started halfway through my freshman year. Center went down. And, they moved me to center, and I played center in high school. I played center all the way until my senior year of high school. I played tight end, but we never threw the ball. It was just I was an extra tackle out there. That's all I was.
That's perfect. That's a lineman's dream. And hey, I love my linemen. All the guys that I roomed with in school were all on our offensive line. So can't speak highly enough about the big dudes up front.
Yeah, I didn't have an opportunity to play in college. I stayed local. My mom was sick at the time. Got to take care of mom. Love mom,
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah.
But I did coach for 20 years. I just recently retired, and my partner there retired as well from high school. High school football coach for 20 years for me.
Awesome.
And yeah, man, I love the game, and I feel like, especially my partner there, Shano, can vouch for me on this. Every time we go in there, and we're surrounded with a bunch of guys, and we made some great relationships in the box. But I feel like because I'm on the offense, I've got an offensive minded, and it's just like, holy cow, why not run a mesh, or hey, there's a screen here, right? So I still have the itch, so to speak, when it comes to calling plays. Because I could just see it, especially when you're up top, except compared to high level on the field. But yeah, I mean, there's part of me that do miss it, and part of me that kind of just say, hey, it's a young man's game, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. It's one of those things, like when you're in it, it takes a lot out of you, right? It's a massive time commitment, but it's when you step away, like you're saying, is when the reality sets in. Is like, damn, I miss that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, when we interview Coach Harris there, Joe the Fan, maybe we can tell him we can be consultants for him.
Absolutely.
we can like buzz in some plays for him. Be like, hey, middle of the field.
Hey, after his decision to kick that field goal down, however many points in the fourth quarter, maybe he needs a little bit more insight from you guys.
Yeah. No, we actually have him scheduled to come on in the near future. And hopefully we can get some other of the coaches around the league. I'll tell you who I didn't mean to go on a side note there, but that I love talking to, and I've talked to him 4 straight weeks, and I feel like I want to send him an invoice. Is Coach Redmond of the Louisville Kings?
Yes.
I mean, since I guess I'm his good luck charm, man, because we do these pre-game interviews and stuff like that over a Zoom call, what have you, and I want to respect his time and stuff like that. But great guy, and I'm not taking anything away from Coach Sumlin that we talked to as well. Coach Ginn Jr. And again, the list goes on. But I'll be honest with you, the only person that we haven't had the opportunity to talk to is Coach Beck of the Orlando Storm. So I think he's done a hell of a job with his team and his crew. But yeah, it like you said, it's an open field in regards to who makes that third final spot.
Yeah, going back to what you said about Coach Beck, obviously me being a Battlehawks guy, appreciate what he did for the Battlehawks organization, and I love that he's implementing that same success, that same culture down in Orlando. And yeah, I think they have a great chance to, you know, win the United Bowl this year. But going back to your comment about Redmond, I think he's, for a guy that's a first-year head coach, he's been absolutely killing it, especially the last couple of weeks. You've seen, you look at the last 3 games and what this team has been able to do in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's some scary stuff. And this is a team that's feeling themselves. It's a team that I think that believes in themselves and believes in one another, that they can make a run at this championship game. And hey, all they got to do now is walk into Columbus and pull out the win. And if you're taking a look at the betting board for this week, I love the Louisville Kings to get this done. I called this a couple weeks ago. I think this team is definitely a playoff caliber team.
Yeah, we'll have an opportunity to talk some bets a little bit later, but also want to give a quick shout out to the Birmingham Stallions coach, AJ. Listen, he's firm but fair. I've talked to him, especially last week. He reminds me of a younger me. I'm firm but fair. Hey, you got to have discipline, man, in anything that you have, especially in sports. I mean, you've played it. I know Shane has played it. I've coached it. And I've also played in high school as well. But got to have that discipline. I think now had a bad loss there against Columbus, which I called as well. But it happens, man. It happens. So hopefully, you know, he'll have an opportunity. It's a must win for him this week.
Yeah, that was a tough game for them last week. You know, you're down multiple offensive linemen. You had been getting it done offensively the couple weeks prior, but it just wasn't. You didn't feel good about that situation, having to go on the road and play against a team that gets streaky at times. You know, Columbus is a way better team at home, and they really had a spark with Jalen Morton. I kind of want to touch more on this game because me and Matt on our show last night, we were saying how this was potentially game of the year. And to have a game of the year with 2 teams that might not even make the playoffs goes to show you how high of a level of play this league has. And really, you know, the margin between the best team and the worst team isn't much. I think it comes down to coaching, right?
Yeah.
You look at the teams that have been successful, whether it's been DC, whether it's been Beck with St. Louis or Orlando, or Skip Holtz with Birmingham Stallions. They run their teams like a college program. This is pro football, but I think as a head coach, there's definitely more coaching that goes into it. And the guys that come from the NFL are the guys that I feel like struggle the most.
Yeah, there's no question about it. We're with our good friend TPG, and you can follow him on X at peoples_gambler. That is PEOPLES_GAMBLER. Shano, you had a question for him?
So as the resident stats and info guy, you uncover some fascinating trends. So you said like 38% of UFL winners are actually outgained by their opponents. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I
have noticed it more so like this year it's happening as well. But last year it seemed like every game last year, the team that ended up out winning the yardage battle would lose the game outright. And that's a question that I got to ask Moose Johnson, who's no longer with the UFL. I got to ask him that at the media day for the championship last year. And he gave me some, you know, ridiculous answer that really didn't make a whole lot of sense. But if I'm going to peel back the curtain and give you my 2 cents as to why the team that wins the yardage battle often loses the game, is because in this league, you have a continuous running clock up until 2 minutes. So as an offense, I think it's more importantly to take the points when you're presented with it, because you don't have as many scoring opportunities as you would in the NFL or in college football. So it's really maximizing those opportunities to score. And we've seen it many times, like Houston Gamblers earlier this year playing the Birmingham Stallions. Houston kept on settling for 3. They would have these great long drives, get down in the red zone, but they would settle for 3. And, you know, maybe you're on the couch screaming at Kevin Sutherland, like, hey, why don't you go for it? But, you know, by taking those points throughout the game, it put their team in an opportunity to win. So finally, when they are able to punch in a score in the fourth quarter, they take the lead. They're not trying to get back into it. So that's what I think. You just got to maximize your opportunity, points to score, because that clock doesn't do you much favor.
Yeah. I agree with you. No question about it. I think Shane there froze up there. But let me ask you this question while we're having some technical difficulties. Sorry about that, folks. But again, we're with our good friend TPG, and you can follow him on X at peoples_gambler. We've got Shane O'Mac back.
I think I'm back. I don't know what happened there. My whole computer just froze for like 10 seconds. I was like, what happened? No.
I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say something. My bad.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off. You finished it up there. Sorry, I'm just having some technical difficulties. I'm
okay.
I'm not in the home. I'm not in my home stadium here, so it's like
that's right. That's right.
It's like the New England Patriots. Like they're like somebody's bugging me. It's like some trickery is going afoot here.
He's on the AOL dial-up, folks. You know, with the little modem 56 modem there. Let me ask you this question, my friend. When it comes to legal sports betting, you know, exploding, and it's gotten huge, as you know, and now it's not legal in all 50 states, but hopefully one day it'll get there. We're talking about at least over 35 states. And spring football finally finding stable footing there. Where do you see the future of your brand at the at peoples_gambler brand? Are there plans to expand beyond the Boulevard into other sports, or is spring football your forever home?
Yeah, well, certainly I have the platform with Springball Blvd to cover the UFL, which I don't really have for any other league. So yes, obviously I like to maximize the platform I got. Would I love to do, you know, some NFL content or college football in the content in the future? Absolutely. But yeah, I like to cover this league, and you were talking about, you know, what the future holds. I mean, we've seen our show grow every year as the league continues to gain more popularity. And I think the key is start getting in markets like a Louisville, Kentucky, where you have high fan buy-in. Some of our current, and Anthony Miller made this comment too last week on your guys' show, and I'm in lockstep with him. You know, until you have all 8 markets that are stable, making money, people are showing up. Yeah, why would you expand, right? So I think just the real bread and butter with this is, you know, getting into markets where people care, let this thing continue to grow. Like, I'm super excited about Oklahoma City, whether that's an expansion or relocation team. I think Omaha, Nebraska, that would definitely kill it. We heard Boise, Idaho, that name getting thrown around in the offseason. So targeting these areas that don't necessarily have a pro football presence to bring in more people, I think is the best direction for the league and the best direction for our show in continuing to grow.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. And like you said with Anthony Miller, I asked him the same questions. I'll ask you. I know they have plans to expand, right, and then open up this league and have more teams. So what do you think that magic number of teams should be at?
I agree. I feel like it's hard to find even 8 starting quarterbacks in this league that are good enough. What I would probably say similar to him, 10, 12. I'd probably say 10 though, go on the lower number, just because I think you mentioned this, Shane, you know, the talent pool drops. If you have too many teams, the talent pool is going to drop off. We're not going to have this high level of play that we've seen all year.
I mentioned that earlier, like last week when we had Anthony Miller on. I was like, because honestly, I think this has been the best on-field product the UFL has put out since it came out. Yes. And I think that expansion is, well, I said that, like I said last week, it's just going to water down that talent pool, and I think that would be hindering them a lot. I think, like when Anthony Miller said, we really put it in context, like what you said, build these markets up, make 8 strong markets, and then expand, and then I think 12 is probably like the magic number. I think too, 10 to 12.
Yeah, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I was a big fan of the arena football late 2000s, early 2010s, and they got super big really quick, and that thing folded. So I remember, like, towards the end, they only had 4 teams. It was kind of an embarrassment. It was kind of a joke. So I would like, the league, I would like to see the league be patient with this. But yeah, I mean, I don't think Houston's a great market. I would love to see maybe they move the Houston team. Dallas has certainly struggled when it comes to attendance, but I don't really see them moving out of that Texas footprint just because they have HQ. I think really the new markets they brought in this year, Louisville, Columbus, Orlando, have really killed it. And you just love to see that more and more people buy in. interesting to see, because we did see a decline in Battlehawks attendance this year, and we know that Rapoli has rumored potentially moving us to the soccer stadium in town, which, you know what, let's just be thankful that there is infrastructure in the city of St. Louis to where if that happens, the Battlehawks won't go away. The Michigan Panthers didn't have that same accommodation. So if we move to the soccer stadium, it is what it is. I would love to see this team play in a dome because, they hold on, whatever memories they have left of the Rams. And it is cool that they do play in like a relic NFL stadium that used to be home to the Rams. And now they're like the sole tenant of that dome. I think it is pretty cool, but we need the fans to show up. It looks like St. Louis might host a playoff game. So I would love to get those attendance numbers to where they were at week 1, because hey, on the broadcast for St. Louis, DC, that place was rocking.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Again, we're with our good friend TPG, and you can follow him on X, and you can see it right there below there at peoples_gambler. So let me go off script here, and before we get to our bets, and this will be my last one before we get to the meat and potatoes of the sports betting for week 10. I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend. You are now, let's say you're the general manager of overall scene. You're not the Mike Rapoli or anything, but what would you do? If you had your hat in the ring, it's kind of like, hey, look, you're overseeing this. Now, you mentioned attendance. You've mentioned maybe an expansion team in a couple of cities that you've mentioned. What do you do if given the keys of the car here? What do you do to kind of get the voice out? A lot of things that you see online, the fans are complaining about attendance this, attendance this, attendance this. I thought it was a hell of a lot of attendance with Louisville this past weekend, which is a great game. You mentioned, of course, also the games there, Shano. The games have been very competitive. It hasn't been blown out like you saw earlier in the season when you saw with the DC defenders, winning by 15, 20 points here and there. Now, granted, there's been injuries, but you could touch base on the local markets, etc. But what would you do to kind of, hey, open the door? Again, the product has gotten better.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So going back to XFL 2020, they had at least like 2 years to prepare for a kickoff versus like with the UFL that we've seen. We've had this league for multiple years, but they keep on hitting the reset button every year. So it is hard to get these local marketing. You're constantly changing cities. Now that Mike Rapoli seems like he is in a good situation where he's not going to leave, he's going to maintain power. I think this upcoming offseason is huge for the league. And when it comes to finding football fans in these markets, you got to go to where the football fans are at. So that means in the fall, you're pulling up to high school football games with, hey, a box of shirts, a box of towels, your table, and you're getting the word out there and say like, hey, we're the pro football team in town. And you could do that same thing at your local colleges. Find where the football fans are at, because hey, if they're willing to watch college football, watch high school football in the area, they certainly would be willing to come out and watch some UFL as well.
Yeah, Shana, what do you think of that?
I think it's a good idea, man. Get to spread the word in the communities. That's for sure. I think that's a huge, great idea. Side note, 50 Cent's doing the halftime show at the United Bowl. Excited for that?
Yeah, that's going to be sweet. I actually bought my ticket to fly out to DC last week. So
okay,
I know you guys are based out of there, so it would be great to meet you guys in person.
Yeah,
we'll be there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we will definitely be there. We could talk off camera, maybe have a couple,
absolutely,
couple of nice adult beverages. Let's leave it like that.
Yeah, I'll meet you at Walters. That sounds.
There you go. Now he knows where he. Hey, he knows the place,
spot, man. That's the spot. Everybody's there.
I'm super excited. I've never been to Audi Field. It's been on my spring football bucket list for quite a while. So I'm excited to get to see, what this environment looks like. Get to see the beer snake in person. It comes across as an awesome environment on TV. So I can't wait to experience that in person. And hopefully, my application for the credential gets approved.
So is ours. You know what, there, Shano? Here's a proposal. We can do kind of like a 4-man tag team here. If you bring Maddie Fresh, we have the 4 of us. We can do a live podcast from Walters.
I would love that.
We should make that happen.
That would be nice.
Call Walters right now. Producer Mark, get him on the phone. We'll do it.
4 horsemen of the UFL. That's his guy.
Exactly. That's copyrighted, by the way.
Ric Flair. I want to be Arn Anderson. He was always my favorite.
There you go. Let's dive into week 10, my friend, and let's talk about these important games. And, we talked off air, Shano and I, regarding the defenders. We'll start off with that game. Of course, it's going to be these rematches. And do you care for these, like, back-to-back? Hey, look, one game at their house and one game away, but you're still playing the same team. I mean, is that something that they should change?
Yeah, I think it's obviously there's a reason as to why they had it. Unbeknownst to me, I do think it's lazy scheduling, but it has been unique because a team like Columbus, right? Mm-hmm. They've been notorious in these back-to-back situations for dropping the first game.
Right.
And they understand their opponent a little bit more, and they're able to capitalize on those things the following week. So it does make for some interesting football. Is it something that I would like to see in the future? Probably not. I understand in some situations it does happen. I know, like in years back, you would play a team week 10 and you also had to play them first round of the playoffs. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. So I'm not too I'm not big on it. I would like to see it get changed in the future.
Yeah. Of course, I was referring to the defenders taking on the Orlando Storm. They took on the Orlando Storm last week in Orlando, but now Orlando travels to DC, where Shano and I will be. That'll be a Sunday game, Sunday noon game. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I hope the defenders realize that Jason Bean's their best option at quarterback if they want to make a run. So I think this is a great week, a great opportunity for them to get him in the game, understand the offense a little bit more, work through these kinks or so that when you do get to that, when the game actually matters in the playoffs, you're going to give your team the best opportunity to win. As for Orlando in this game, we saw Anthony Beck and this team ultra motivated to knock off DC a week ago. I think that has a lot to play in just, hey, these were the Battlehawks coaches prior. And DC knocked him out of the playoffs last year. So I think they really wanted to make a statement, but I personally think that Orlando might try to shut it down this week. So it's an even better opportunity for Bean if he gets into to light up those Storm backups.
Yeah.
The Storm don't have a whole lot to play for there. Yeah, no. So they definitely should probably be resting people at least by halftime. Probably, you would think, right?
Yes, and currently, this situation sucks, but they are in a position where they can't even host a playoff game because there's some World Cup, Costa Rica soccer. I think that's what Matt said. But
Matty Fresh was telling us that last week, and and then he was telling us about that's pretty much the reason why the Panthers moved out from Michigan last year. It's because of who's Kendrick Lamar concert or something like that. I can't remember who it was now. He told us. I can't remember.
Some concert, some high school graduation. There's some. Yeah. It's always something.
High school graduation. Yeah.
He said high school graduation.
Someone rented out the arena for a bar mitzvah or something. Yeah, something like that.
The defenders, of course, are the dogs here at minus 110 on the money line at plus 1.5. Do you take the defenders here with the points, or do you stick with Orlando at minus 1.5? And again, both of them at minus 110 on the money line.
I would probably go with DC in this one. Coming back home, like I said, I think they're going to use this week to get Jason Bean ready if they do go in that direction. So, I think the Storm are probably going to shut it down. So yes, I would take DC plus the 1.5.
Let's talk about your team, the St. Louis Battlehawks. Of course, they host the Renegades, where the Renegades and Austin Reed has been struggling big time. I've seen his quarterback play, especially when they took on Louisville recently, and doesn't really do a little check down here. He always wants to go for as I used to tell my players, always want to go for the home run, which it's not even necessary. He's throwing in a double coverage, not even triple, sometimes even the triple coverage. But they play Friday night. So what are your thoughts? It's kind of a shorter week for them. What are your thoughts here as the St. Louis Battlehawks are currently favored at -3.5, courtesy of our friends over at DraftKings?
Yes, the Battlehawks, they ended up clinching this past Sunday. Great win for them, but I'm still a little frustrated with the offense. I feel like this offense will take, one step forward, but then 2 steps back. We can never, I feel like, stack consistent weeks. But this is also a Luis Perez revenge game. This is the team that traded him away to St. Louis. Rick Neuheisel didn't believe in this guy. He went with Austin Reed, and they decided to trade Luis for a backup offensive lineman. So I think Luis definitely, is going to come out with something to prove. If they have a hot first half, I could see maybe St. Louis resting starters, but Dallas is just a dead team. This is a team that's quit. This is a team that's given up. Yes, they did battle for those 3 quarters against Louisville this past week, but they just ended up falling completely apart in the fourth. So I do like St. Louis to win this game. I don't know if I would take them on the spread. If I'm going to lean a total, though, I would take the over.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. The total currently at 46.5, and the over. Okay, I was looking a little bit at the under, but I see where you're coming from, my friend. Shano, any thoughts on this game?
I kind of with them right there with the Renegades just being a dead team right now. So I would lean Battlehawks as well. The question is, are they going to rest people because they already have that playoff locked up?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll get some more information as the week continues on. But
Now let's move to, of course, our Saturday game. And this is the only Saturday game for Week 10. It is, of course, the Houston Gamblers as they travel to Birmingham Stallions. The spread currently, AJ's team, I should say, is currently at -3.5. What are your thoughts here? Do you have a lean for the Stallions, which is a must-win for them?
Yes, this is a must-win for the Stallions, a team that's been, hot as of late. The real question for me heading into this game is who's going to start at quarterback for the Houston Gamblers. We saw Hunter Deckers leave the game yesterday with a shoulder injury. If Deckers is playing, if he's starting, I do like Houston in this game. They've been playing much better as of late. The defense is tough. The run game's solid. And with Deckers in, he could sling the pill around. So I think he gives them a good chance to win. Tough game to pick just because, this is Stallions backs against the wall, but we saw with their backs against the wall last week, and DTR kind of just fell apart. He's kind of looked like a shell of himself as what he did previously when he was first starting for Birmingham. So I guess currently right now I'm going to lean Houston plus the 3.5.
Yeah. They always, most of their games have been very, very close. But going back to what you said with the back-to-back, when they took on Columbus, they lost. Houston won the first game, against Columbus, but then when they took on Columbus again that following week, just totally didn't show up, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go with the last game there. Let's see, on a Sunday. We already talked about the Defenders playing at noon, so let's talk about the last game. The hot Louisville Kings traveling to the Columbus Aviators. The spread currently the Kings at -2.5.
Yeah, so this is my favorite play of the week. Really excited for this game, and this is what Louisville's been fighting and clawing for. This entire last half of the season, a chance at the playoffs, a seat at the table. And this team's hot. This team is a team that I would not want to meet in a dark alley. So I love the Kings right now, laying the 2.5. Columbus, that was an impressive win, I think. And they've been a great team at home. We'll see this week if Jalen Morton is him, if he's like a Cam Newton type player. I just think, though, this Kings team is too solid. On all facets, whether it's offense, defense, special teams. Their special teams has been killing it as of late. So I do like the Kings to lay the 2.5, get the win, clinch the playoffs. And this is a 2-unit play for me. This is how confident I am in this Louisville Kings team.
Ooh.
I love it. 2-unit play. I love it.
Like
Because Kings control their own destiny, correct?
Yes.
They win the ring, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
The Stallions need the Kings to lose for them to have a chance. But yeah, all the Kings have to do is take care of business, and they're in. But like I said, Columbus has been a tough place to play. They have been much better at home. But after a big win like that, when you're not a very good team, I see a letdown spot for the Aviators this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. So again, the Birmingham Stallions, who play on Saturday, have to win, and the Kings lose on Sunday for the Stallions to have an opportunity for the postseason.
Mm-hmm. So you're thinking the Kings are in. So who do you think comes out on top?
Yeah.
So by my projections, I think St. Louis, they're going to take care of business this week, so they're going to be the number 1 seed. Orlando, they're going to take the 2. Louisville's going to have the 3, and DC's going to have the 4. It's tough. It's like St. Louis, DC. I'm looking at it, St. Louis, DC first round of the playoffs, which that's going to be a great rematch. And anyone can win that game. I'm going to go with the Battlehawks. They've had this curse in the playoffs the last couple of years of not being able to make it to the championship game. So I think this is finally the year St. Louis gets it done. And looking across the field, you're going to have Orlando versus Louisville. This Orlando beat them twice during the regular season. That second time on a interesting, penalty in overtime to give them points, reward them points, which completely changed the rules entirely. So if it's Orlando versus Louisville, I love Louisville to pull that upset and to get revenge on a team that beat them twice earlier in the year. So I'm looking at I'm looking at a St. Louis Louisville United Bowl at Audi Field, June 13th.
Ooh,
Audi Field will be a Louisville fan central there if that happens.
That is true. That is true, my friend. That is definitely true. Well, TPG, we truly appreciate your time. And again, folks, you can follow him on X at peoples_gambler. And of course, check out his amazing work with our good friend Matty Fresh on Springball Blvd. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience before we let you go, my friend?
Yeah. Follow our show account on Instagram and TikTok at Springball Blvd. Follow, like, comment, share, do all that good stuff. We're constantly pumping out clips, and with the playoffs approaching, we're going to have some great content coming to you guys. So you're going to not want to miss it. We're going to be on site for the United Bowl June 13th. So plenty of great content in the works between me and Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we're able to not only get our credentials, but also, again, as Shano mentioned, the birth of the 4 horsemen in the UFL. Hopefully we can make that work. Yeah, man, I think that would be very exciting to do. And hopefully we can make that happen, my friend.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So again, check out our good friend here, TPG at peoples_gambler, and you can follow him on X for that. And then, of course, when we return, our best bets for the night here on Just Win Bets, baby.